Nobody expected WTA officials to intervene until Sabalenka's clash with Zheng exploded on court. The tension was palpable, every point a spark ready to ignite a firestorm. A heated exchange, a loud outburst, and a warning that no one saw coming. Fans held their breath as two rising stars pushed each other to the edge. Was it frustration, rivalry, or something deeper that triggered this eruption? The match quickly became more than a contest of skill. It was a battle of wills. Social media erupted as clips of the incident went viral within minutes. Commentators questioned whether the tour should step in sooner or let the drama unfold. And in the stands, whispers turned into debates, fueling the intensity of the moment. Because when Sabalenka and Zheng collide, nothing stays calm. Nothing stays ordinary. Aryna Sabalenka and Qinwen Zheng, two names that, until recently, had been quietly climbing the ladder of women's tennis, but now they were on a collision course. On paper, Sabalenka was the dominant force, a powerhouse from Belarus with explosive ground strokes, unrelenting serve, and an aura of confidence that could intimidate even the bravest opponents. Qinwen Zheng, on the other hand, was the rising star from China, young, fearless, and hungry. Her game was fluid, precise, and marked by an unshakable determination that often belied her age. The tennis world had been waiting for their clash. For months, analysts had whispered about the potential rivalry, comparing Sabalenka's raw aggression to Zheng's calm, tactical approach. Fans debated, would experience triumph over youth, or would the newcomer shock the world and topple the giant? Tension had been building quietly, like a storm gathering momentum on the horizon. Sabalenka had history on her side. Their previous meetings were a testament to her power and resilience. She had won most of their encounters, sometimes in straight sets, sometimes in grueling battles that tested both players' mental and physical limits. Yet each match had left a subtle thread of unease for the Belarusian. Qin never gave up easily, never showed fear, and had a habit of rising when her back was against the wall. This was a player who could turn a seemingly lost point into a rally that shook the favorite to the core. The stakes were high. Sabalenka was chasing another deep run at the Italian Open, trying to prove that she could maintain her status among the world's elite. Every point mattered. Every misstep could be costly. Qinwen Qin was there to prove that she belonged on the stage, to announce herself not just as a contender, but as a force that could disrupt established hierarchies. She had trained relentlessly for this moment, honing her footwork, perfecting her angles, and studying every nuance of her opponent's game. As the players stepped onto the court that day, the atmosphere was electric. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, knowing they were about to witness more than just a match. They were witnessing the birth of a rivalry that could define the season. Cameras flashed, commentators whispered, and fans leaned forward, sensing the drama that was about to unfold. Even before a single point was played, tension lingered in the air. Sabalenka's eyes, usually fiery yet controlled, scanned the court with quiet intensity. Qinwen Zhang's calm demeanor masked the fire burning within. The first serve, the first exchange, the first rally, everything felt charged, as if the air itself had been electrified. And so, the stage was set. Two stars, each with everything to gain and everything to lose. One powerful force against one rising talent. And the tennis world watching, waiting, holding its collective breath. This was more than a game. It was a collision of ambition, emotion, and will. The match was about to become unforgettable, and nobody could predict just how ugly it would turn. The match had barely begun when the first sparks appeared. Sabalenka, usually composed under pressure, was showing signs of agitation. Every ball Zheng returned seemed sharper, more precise, cutting through the Belarusian's defense like a scalpel. The young Chinese player moved with a fluidity that made every shot feel effortless, yet every point carried weight, each rally stretching Sabalenka's patience thinner and thinner. Tension on the court grew with every serve. A whisper of discontent from the crowd, a slight groan as a line call went Zheng's way. These were the moments that would test any player's composure. For Sabalenka, it was becoming unbearable. A questionable line call and a critical breakpoint was the spark that ignited a storm. She slammed her racket into the court in frustration, her voice rising above the murmurs of the audience. "Come on!" she yelled, a raw edge of fury lacing her tone. And then it happened. A fan, perhaps attempting to goad the world number one, shouted something audible from the stands. Sabalenka's reaction was instantaneous, a sharp, audible expletive that echoed across the stadium. The umpire had no choice. A code violation was issued, and the WTA officials on duty stepped in. The warning was official, but it barely scratched the surface of what had just erupted. Cameras caught the moment, the crowd gasped, and the social media began buzzing in real time, clips of the incident spreading across platforms within minutes. The emotional stakes had never been higher. Sabalenka's frustration was a cocktail of exhaustion, expectation, and the pressure of maintaining her top ranking. Zheng, on the other hand, remained calm, a picture of focus, her eyes never leaving the ball, her movements precise and deliberate. Yet even she could sense the intensity building around her. Each rally became a psychological battle as much as a physical one. Who would break first? Who would falter under the growing storm? Off the court, whispers began to circulate. Commentators debated. Was Sabalenka simply human, pushed to her limits by a talented opponent? Or was this an early glimpse of a deeper, more volatile rivalry? Fans on social media erupted, some defending her passion, others criticizing the outburst. The moment had escalated beyond tennis. It had become a story about emotion, control, and the thin line separating competitive fire from controversy. WTA officials monitored the situation closely, aware that one misstep could escalate into something more serious. The code violation was not just a reprimand, it was a warning signal. The tension in the stadium thickened with every passing point. Sabalenka's body language spoke volumes, clenched fists, deep breaths, a player trying to harness fury into focus. Zheng remained unshaken, her serene poise a sharp contrast to the storm around her. By the time the first set ended, it was clear that this match was no ordinary contest. The collision of skill, personality, and emotion had set the stage for a confrontation that would ripple far beyond the court. And though the first official intervention had occurred, the drama was only beginning. Sabalenka's temper had been sparked, the rivalry intensified, and the world was about to watch as the clash escalated into something truly unforgettable. By the time Sabalenka and Zheng reached the midpoint of the match, the drama had spread far beyond the stadium. Clips of the incident, the audible outburst, the slammed racket, the WTA official stepping in, were already circulating on social media, sparking debates across the globe. Fans, analysts, and fellow players all weighed in, turning what should have been a single match into a spectacle of scrutiny and controversy. The reaction was immediate and polarizing. Some hailed Sabalenka's intensity, arguing that the Belarusian's passion was a reflection of her commitment to the game. "She's human," one fan tweeted. "She's giving everything she has, and sometimes emotions spill over. That's what makes her great." Others, however, condemned the outburst as unprofessional, suggesting that a player of Sabalenka's caliber should be a model of composure regardless of provocation. The hashtags trended, conversations ignited in forums, and the drama grew exponentially with every replayed clip. Commentators dissected every angle. Every foot movement, every glance, every reaction became a talking point. Analysts debated whether the incident was purely emotional or whether it reflected a deeper mental fatigue Sabalenka was carrying into the match. Zheng's calm, unwavering performance was magnified in contrast, and the young Chinese player quickly became the symbolic foil, disciplined, strategic, and seemingly untouchable even as the stadium roared around her. The WTA, meanwhile, felt the pressure intensify. Officials had already issued a code violation, but the narrative had taken on its own life. Could the tour allow this tension to escalate further? How would they balance player freedom and emotional expression with professionalism and sportsmanship? These questions dominated post-match discussions and dominated headlines across tennis media outlets. Fan reactions varied wildly. Some began to create memes, joking about the clash in ways that only amplified the story. Others posted impassioned videos defending Sabalenka, emphasizing the sheer difficulty of competing at the highest level and how emotions can flare when stakes are enormous. The story had transcended the match itself. It had become a window into the human side of elite competition, a glimpse of vulnerability and intensity few fans ever witness. Social media debates sometimes spilled into tension on the court itself. Zheng, acutely aware of the attention, remained focused, but one could feel the weight of scrutiny pressing in from every angle. Sabalenka's frustration now carried an additional dimension. Not only did she need to perform, but she was also under the microscope of a global audience eager for drama. Every error was amplified, every strong point scrutinized, and every reaction interpreted as part of an unfolding narrative. This was the moment when rivalry, emotion, and public perception collided. The WTA had stepped in to enforce rules, but they couldn't control the story spreading online. The incident had become more than a match. It was a social phenomenon, a mirror reflecting the tension between human emotion and professional expectation. By the end of the set, both players had delivered tennis of the highest caliber, but the undercurrent of controversy lingered like a storm cloud. The stage was set for the fallout, for the repercussions that would extend far beyond a single game, a single outburst, or a single match. The world was watching, reacting, and waiting to see what would happen next, and no one could look away. The moment the match ended, the tennis world exploded. Sabalenka's outburst, the slammed racket, and the code violation weren't just replayed. They were dissected, analyzed, and debated endlessly. Headlines screamed controversy, social media users debated who was right, and fans everywhere weighed in with unfiltered passion. Suddenly, what had begun as a competitive clash had become a lightning rod for scrutiny. WTA officials moved quickly behind the scenes. While the on-court code violation was already issued, the tour recognized the optics of the situation. The clash had captured global attention, and there were questions. Did the Belarusian cross the line? Could Zheng have handled the tension differently? The WTA's official statement was careful but firm, reminding players of professional conduct, emphasizing respect, and acknowledging that emotions can run high in elite competition. Yet, the intervention only fueled speculation. Was the WTA too lenient, or did they act just in time to prevent further escalation? Fans reacted with fury, amazement, and fascination all at once. Some defended Sabalenka's emotional intensity, celebrating her fire and determination. We love her! This is why we love her. She's real. She's human. She fights for every point. Others criticized her behavior, claiming that at the highest level, professionalism should never waver. Memes and commentaries flooded Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, creating a whirlwind that seemed impossible to escape. Every replayed clip was dissected, her gesture, her tone, even the way she exhaled, turning small actions into monumental talking points. Meanwhile, Zheng became an unexpected focal point in the drama. She had maintained her composure, navigating the storm with quiet precision, but the public attention forced her into the spotlight. Analysts praised her discipline, while some critics argued she might have played a role in escalating Sabalenka's frustration. The dynamic between the two players now carried far more than just competitive stakes. It had become a symbol of contrasting styles, personalities, and emotional control under pressure. The fallout didn't stop at social media. Commentators, journalists, and former players weighed in, debating the fine line between passion and misconduct. Many argued that elite athletes are human and that intense emotions are part of high-stakes sport. Others insisted that role models must maintain decorum. Even coaches and insiders admitted that while Sabalenka's reaction was fiery, it wasn't unprecedented. Tennis has always had moments where the human spirit clashes with expectation. Through it all, Sabalenka herself remained relatively quiet publicly, but her post-match body language, interviews, and brief statements hinted at reflection, frustration, and a desire to regain control. "I just needed to focus on my game," she said in a short post-match interview. "Sometimes emotions get the better of you. I will learn from this." Zheng, for her part, offered measured respect. "It's tennis. Everyone fights for every point. You have to stay composed and keep moving forward." The fallout had exposed more than just a single moment of tension. It revealed the pressure cooker environment of elite tennis, the thin margin between passion and controversy, and the global scrutiny athletes endure with every point. Fans weren't just watching a match, they were watching a storm unfold, one that challenged both players and the governing tour to navigate human emotion under a microscope. The stage was set for the next chapter, where questions of fairness, officiating, and rivalry would come to the forefront. The drama was far from over. As the dust settled on the Sabalenka-Zheng clash, the tennis world was left to reflect on what had just unfolded. It was more than a match, more than a few moments of frustration. It was a collision of personalities, skill, and raw human emotion. For Sabalenka, the incident became a test of growth. The outburst, while criticized, revealed a vulnerability rarely seen in a top-ranked player, the struggle to balance passion with professionalism under the unforgiving spotlight of elite sport. Zheng, in contrast, emerged as a symbol of composure and precision. Her calm demeanor, her focus on every point, and her ability to navigate the storm with poise made her a rising star to watch. She didn't just survive the clash, she thrived in it. Fans and commentators began to see the match as a turning point, a moment when the younger player proved she could challenge the established elite and hold her own under pressure. The WTA's intervention, initially a routine enforcement of rules, took on a broader significance in retrospect. It highlighted the fine line officials must walk, protecting the integrity of the sport while allowing players the freedom to express their competitive fire. In that sense, the clash became a case study in governance, emotion, and fairness in modern tennis, a moment that would be referenced in discussions for years to come. Beyond the rules and the headlines, the human element was what truly lingered. Fans had witnessed something rare, the raw interplay of ambition, stress, and personal temperament on a global stage. Some criticized, some celebrated, but all were captivated. The match became a mirror, reflecting the pressures that elite athletes face every day, the mental strain, the emotional stakes, and the constant scrutiny. For many, it was a reminder that behind every powerful serve or perfect backhand is a human being, feeling, struggling, and striving to control the uncontrollable. As for the rivalry itself, this clash marked the beginning of something much larger. Sabalenka had been challenged in ways that exposed her vulnerabilities, while Zheng had proven she could rise to the occasion. Their paths would cross again, undoubtedly, each encounter layered with the tension of this unforgettable battle. The incident was no longer just a match, it was the prologue to a story that would define both players' careers. The emotional resonance of the event lingered in conversations, commentary, and fan debates. Was it just an eruption of frustration, or was it a statement about the intensity of professional tennis? Did the WTA handle it properly, or was there more that could have been done? Could the clash inspire greater emotional control, or would it become a cautionary tale of what happens when passion spills over? In the end, the Sabalenka-Zheng clash left a legacy that transcended points and scores. It was a reminder that drama, controversy, and human emotion are inseparable from the beauty of competition. For the fans, it was unforgettable. For the players, it was transformative. And for the sport itself, it was a testament to the enduring tension between raw emotion and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Because in tennis, as in life, it's not just about who wins or loses, it's about how we respond when everything is on the line. Who do you think handled the pressure better, Sabalenka or Zheng? Comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more intense tennis rivalries and exclusive behind-the-scenes drama.